What's going on YouTube? It's your B-Boy, and today I am here with...
Mako.
And what are we playing today?
So this is gonna be Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc.
Okay, what made you decide to build this deck?
Well, I'm a big fan of the Tri-Brigade, and I've already had Tri-Brigade Melfi, but I was a fan of them so much that I was like, well, what else was there available? And I wasn't feeling like any other variants, but when I saw like the little birds, like before the hype, like I got into it just before the hype, and I thought it was cool how they were all like these little birds. So I was like, oh, let me try and build that a little bit, and then ended up like the next 2 weeks like blowing up. So that's what made me build it.
Alright, so any shoutouts before you want to start?
So shout out to Clot for always kind of giving out any cards that I need, anything we're missing, even like if they're a little pricey, he'll still just give them out. And to Ogre or Philippe for just being a good sport, man, helping us out too. And I'll shout out to his channel and good luck to him. And yeah, that's basically it.
Alright, now let's get started with the deck profile.
Alright, so we'll start with the main deck. We play our Bear Statue and our Apex. This is what we're going to summon off of Samorg. This deck makes Samorg so easily, it cheats them out with our Tri-Brigades. So typically turn 1, I like to bring out the statue. And this typically locks out our opponent, and if hopefully they can't do anything, we will bring out Avion if we hard draw this, or if statue remains active. So that's why I play those two. Typical Tri-Brigade lineup. Fractal is a must 3-of because he loads up our graveyard. With Tri-Brigades, we need to banish one of the Tri-types, Beast Warrior, Winged Beast, or Beast type. So this helps to load up our graveyard, and it ends up being a search for one of our Tri-Brigade monsters. So it's a must 3-of. We play 2 Karas. I don't play 3 because I don't want to have more than one in my hand. Like, the objective is not to kind of get him out, but more or less like there's just not too much room really to get more men there. And now with the new Kit card, I ended up taking him down from 3 to 2. Speaking of the next card, Kit, I run a single of, and they all have the same effects where they get to, like this, Tri-Brigade gets to, well, Fractal gets a Foolish Burial someone, and then Karas doesn't Foolish Burial have a Foolish Burial effect, but Kit can Foolish Burial not just a Tri-Brigade monster, but a Tri-Brigade card. And a lot of people play Rendezvous. I don't. Like, in my variant, I don't play the Spell and Trap. I think that it's a little situational for me. I know, like, I'm being proven wrong because running the Spell and Trap does make it better. We see that, like, one just top with both of them. That's a stronger one. But I'm just not a fan of putting all my, like, eggs in one basket. Like, if that doesn't work out, like, if I draw the bricks, I just don't like, I like being able to go to other sources. So what I use Kit for is like an additional Foolish Burial. So I'll discard Foolish Burial, discard to Foolish Burial Nerval, and then, which is the next card, and then Nerval lets me search. So with just Fractal, I get to load up the grave by 1, 2, 3, and search. And then when I search for Karas, like, I'm all lined up with 3. So just with that, I'm like set up for my Samorg, just with 1 card by himself. So that's the ratios for that. So I played 3 Nerval, as you saw, 1, 2, and 3. This deck revolves around like level 1s. We play cards like Jack in the Hand, and he's also a level 1 Winged Beast. And Lyrilusc are really good at searching for Winged Beasts. So Nerval like just fits perfectly. So he's a must 3-of in this deck for sure. Next, this is gonna be like your standard ratio. We play 1 Warbler, 2 Cobalt, and 1 Swallow. This is like average for the competitive variants. You'll always see the ratio is 3-2-1. Sometimes you'll see 3-2-2, but Swallow is searchable, so we don't really need many of Cobalts or Swallow. We need Warbler first turn because she's our special summon from the hand if we control a monster. So this is our free special summon. We want to see this in hand. This is typically our target if we don't draw her for our Jack in the Hand. So this is pretty standard. I play Kikabayo. This is another card that kind of has been ruled out by a lot of Tri-Brigade players, well, Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc players, and what they're running is like Rescue Rabbit. But I really like Kikabayo because number 1, it's a level 1, which means I can search it with Jack in the Hand, and then this is my easy normal summon extender, because what Kikabayo does is when I normal summon him, I get to special summon a level 1 from the grave. So just like that, I get to extend pass like more plays. It's a great extender. I personally love Kinkabayo, but I think 2 is better than 3 because I don't want to see multiple in my hand. Like I'd rather search them out, or I only want to see one. I never want to see multiple. So Kinkabayo can be a brick at 3. I think 2 is like a good ratio. 3 once you run 3. And next we play another Winged Beast level 1, which is going to be DD Crow. We main deck DD Crow because he's searchable, and we can also use him to play around with our other cards. So I can, like, one of the Lyrilusc cards let me special summon herself and a level 1 Winged Beast, which means if I hard draw DD Crow, I get to special summon and extend automatically if I don't have the other Lyrilusc cards. Also, it's searchable through Jack in the Hand, or I can discard it with Keras. So DD Crow doesn't hurt at being 3 of, especially since it hurts so many decks in the meta right now by banishing stuff. Like you can banish Eldritch cards, you can banish like a Golden Land. I mean the Eldritch Golden Land. You can Golden Lord. You can banish the Drytron pieces. So this hurts a lot of graveyard dependent decks. Next we play our triple Ash because it's Ash, right? Ash just can stop a lot of decks. You know, unfortunately doesn't like choke a lot of decks nowadays, though a lot of decks can push past just an Ash, but it's something. And also we play we play a Gamma package. But a Gamma package because we need our effects to go through, and if we get ashed on like a Jack in the Hand or like something important, we could always Gamma them, and then we get our free Omega. We get a free Omega with this. So this is definitely you'll see this typically in your Lyrilusc cards, Lyrilusc decks, and yeah, this is Gamma. You know. Sucks to run the brick, but I think it's worth it overall. Speaking of getting Ash, we play Firefish Tenki. The Fractal is like a really important starter for us, so it's worth running 3 of Fractals and 3 of the Tenkis. So we definitely run 3 of these, and if we get Ash, that's where the Gammas come in. If we Foolish Burial the Fractal, and to try Ashes again, you know, Gamma's live. So as you can see, there's like many points we can Gamma people in this deck, and so it's worth running. Next we play triple Jack in the Hand. This card is like, I feel bad for remote duelists, but this card is actually banned in the remote duels, and but it's so amazing. The fact is I get to search for any 3 level 1s, any 3, but your opponent gets to grab one first, and then I get to go over afterwards. And the good thing is this deck is just filled with level 1s. They're everywhere, right? So like what I'll do is what I like to offer my opponent is I'll offer the Kinkabayo and like a Cobalt and then a Warbler, and like there's never like something. This is like an average of what I'll offer typically. Oh wait, actually no, never mind, my fault. So what I'll offer is there you go, these 3. So this is what I'll typically offer my opponent, and typically they'll grab the Nerval. Your opponents will grab the Nerval thinking that they'll stop your Tri-Brigade plays, but in reality it's kind of the bait. You want to have the Warbler. That's if you don't already have the Warbler. So I've had duels where they took the Nerval and I took the Warbler and I went off with this. But then the next time I hard drew Warbler and then they took the Warbler, but then I ended up taking the Bio and I was able to extend. So like your opponent never knows exactly who to hit. Like you could always need any other piece, normally. So it's Jack in the Hand is like such an amazing card for this deck. So I definitely think it's definitely worth running at 3, wherever it is for you guys. Here it is, 1, 2, 3. So I think it's a must 3 of, and plus if this gets ashed, I'll probably still Gamma them, but you typically your opponent won't Gamma them. You could also offer DD Crow, but I personally wouldn't because I want the graveyard material. But if you really need like Warbler bad, you could always offer them a DD Crow and then let them go from there. But I typically don't like to offer them that. Next we play a 1-for-1 because as you saw, we're loaded with level 1s. So a 1-for-1 is pretty good. We discard a monster and then we can push forward from there. A Monster Reborn is a free extender. This can be taken out. I know a lot of the very strong Lyrilusc decks, they don't use Monster Reborn, but I really enjoy the extender if I need to. If something gets stopped or imperm, I could always Monster Reborn one of my Lyrilusc cards or a level 1 and then Xyz to my level 1s. Play the Foolish Burial. We Foolish Burial, our targets are going to be typically Kit or Nerval or Fractal, depending. If you're like fresh duel, then I'll do Kit and then Kit Foolish Burial the Nerval and then search. But but situational because it just depends on what it is. We play the Cobalt Grave because once again we don't get Ash, so We don't want to get our play stop, whether it be who knows, Effect Veiler, or it's going to be Effect Veiler, Ghost, Ogre, or definitely worth running the 1 of until it goes to 3. And then Feather Duster, just because it's off the ban list. Like, it's just wipe out back row. Like, I mean, it's there, it's cheap, it got reprinted, so $5, 100% worth running the Hybrid Feather Duster. Because we also lack the ability to repop it back row very much. So if we go second and we see a back row, we'll start shaking. So that's the main deck right there. For the extra deck, I play 2 Omen. Ominous Omen is like incredible because he has an effect where he non-target banishes, which is really strong in the meta and right now because Dragoon, who has target protection. So a great boss monster. He's a Link 4, and he also has spec triggers whenever any of the Tri-types are special summoned. So if you're able to like special summon something on your opponent's turn, like a monster out, he'll still trigger the effect too. Also, when he's sent from like field to grave, you get to search for a Tri-Brigade card, which is like really, really good. So he's like a plus no matter what. I play typically you'll see the silver Rugal, the single Rugal, and he's part of the combo piece until moving up, but you don't really need many of them, so he's a 1-up for sure. You don't really go into Rugal very much. Some people even like don't play him at all, but I think running 1 is pretty safe. Then the double Farajit, and Farajit is incredible because she's an extender, because she can, like the Tri-Brigade monsters, each of them can banish to special summon a Link monster. Like, it's not just one. So if you already use Fractal's effect to banish to special summon her, you can use her effect to special summon level 4 or lower Tri-type, and then use that effect too. So it's incredible. It's a really, really good effect. So yep, good extender. The single Apollosa, this helps us protect against the Nibiru if we don't already Nibiru beforehand. And plus the Apollosa, we can get her at 32 or at 16. I go for the 16 just because I rather go safer routes. Smorg, I mean, because we make this so easily, so quick. And then the Doom Eagle, this is a card that hasn't been seen in a long time until Lyrilusc came around. And what this does is it has a quick effect where we get to shuffle a monster from the graveyard into the deck. And nowadays with like such graveyard reliant decks, this is like really strong. And if your opponent has no monsters in the graveyard, then he becomes 4,800. So he's huge, right? He gets big. Typically that won't happen too much. Like, you don't go on him very often, but he is nice to be there just in case. Like, just in case if you want him there, he's there. The single Harpy Conductor, because she's a winged beast, so we don't always have to cheat out some more. We can use Harpy Conductor to get into some more, and just a good stepping stone for the combo. And then this is how we protect our barrier statue, is through double Dragon Lords. And double Dragon Lords has a quick effect where you get to send any face-up card we have on the field or in our hands, and then we get to return and bounce a card from their hands. So what like the most satisfying thing to do ever is like if we start off turn 1 and then we bring out if we use our Fire Formation Tenki. Fire Formation Tenki counts as that target. So like I could activate Tenki and then get my Fractal, do my plays, and then end on the Smorg and then Oath. And then I can send this, because this is kind of useless what's on the field. It barely helps at all. So if I can send this to the graveyard to bounce a card or bounce a monster that my opponent controls. And that's typically how you'll protect Barrier Statue, because everyone knows, hey, normal summon, run over statue, main phase 2, do your plays. So this is how you protect it. So it's really helpful for stunning your opponent. And if you can't make Dragon Lords, this is our second way of protecting a statue, and that's through Link Rebo. The objective is to protect Barrier Statue to lock your opponent out, and this is our 2 ways of doing it, Link Rebo or Dragon Lords, but preferably we go into Dragon Lords when we can, but Link Rebo there is just in case if you need it. A lot of players like to use Almirage, but Almirage, in my opinion, isn't good for this deck because our only target for that really is Kit, and if you don't draw Kit for that, all the Tri-Brigade monsters are too big to go into Almirage, so you could play it, but I prefer Link Rebo over Almirage normally because this deck is filled with level 1. So I guess for other Tri-Brigade decks it might be more helpful, but this one is not. Then we have our Recital Starling, and Starling is our searcher for the deck, and we simply, part of the combo, we Xyz and then detach material, make target ourselves, get her a little bigger, does nothing, but then we get to also search for level 1. That's how we link climb from there. And then this is how we get into our Zeus. And our Zeus, and everyone kind of knows what Nightingale does. Nightingale gets attacked directly, it requires 2 level 1s, we're flooded with level 1, so if we like just have nothing to do, I mean, Xyz, swing directly, go into Zeus. And we play our Omega, obviously for our Gamma package. And I mean, nothing more satisfying than activating Gamma, going to Omega, and rip one from the hand, which is pretty good. And then my Zeus is not here. I had to move it to my Melfi deck, so I will be getting another one hopefully soon and putting it in here. And that's basically it. That's it for the deck. It's a very fun deck, very strong right now. If you're considering playing it, I recommend probably getting it now because it's gonna go up in price. I think that's my opinion, though.
Now I do have some questions about the deck.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered adding Union Carrier in the deck?
I haven't, just because when you go into your Tri-Brigade plays, like there's no one that you would want to equip that's going to be valuable enough. Like the only I see play happening with Union Carriers that like if we equipped maybe one of the monsters like Nerval or Kit, the Foolish Barrier. But if you're already using resources to get into Kit, I'd rather go into something like Farajit, you know. So yeah, I haven't thought about Union Carrier. I can't think of like a really good enough target to use the 2 monsters for, just to end up, you know, Foolish Bearing or something. Yeah.
Alright, another question is, have you ever considered adding Mist Valley Thunderbird in the deck so that way you can combine it with the Infinite Negate combo?
Yeah. So I did think about that. You know, when I first built the deck, I thought about going for the Infinite Negate, but there's 2 problems with that. For one, you have to choose your path. Like we can't always go into like you have to choose either the Infinite Negate or the Simorgh. And the Infinite Negate is good, but it just takes something to chain to stop the Infinite Negate. So it's hard to stop, but it can be stopped. At least I feel like the Bear statue with the Dragon Lords is a stronger effect on your opponent because it just stops them doing anything monsters at all. Like so, the Infinite Negate is good, but you have to pick her out. You're not gonna be able to go into your complete normal Tri-Brigade, Apollosa and Simorgh and your Dragon Lords and the Infinite Negate. So it's like picking the 2. You could do that if you want to, but like I feel like if you're gonna run Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade, you might as well just go for like the Dragon Lord, those kind of plays, in my opinion, for me.
Alright, and my last question to you is, well, how come you only play 1 kit instead of maxing out?
Yeah, so like kit, so you can run more kits. You can run like 2 kits if you play the. See, for me, with kit you can only pick 1 target to send to the grave, and I gotta choose either A, do I want to send one of the Tri-Brigade spells and traps to activate their graveyard effects, or do I want to send Nerval so I can add Kairos? And I choose the Kairos route because the spells and traps are a little more situational for me. And I don't, as you can see, I don't run the spells and traps, so I'd rather have the consistency of getting my monster board down rather than the protection from the spell and traps. So that's why I only want it. And I only need to Seer once because I only need to fill up my graveyard enough for only 1 time, you know. And after that, by then, even if my board gets broken, my graveyard is filled up enough. So like, and I don't want to see an extra one in my hand. So like, I just don't. For me, like, I just don't want to run more than 1. Like, I just use it as a way to further extend the grave.
Alright, well thank you for showcasing your Yugioh Deck Profile.
Yeah, man, no problem.
Alrighty, so this is B-Boy0313 signing off.